at that time, we had people allow them to send their leads in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We were calling their leads. So people literally walked out with $15,000, $20,000 they ended up making by having these top closers close, and they got the relationship with them now.
Right. Hey everybody, welcome to today's very special episode of Real Estate Disruptors. As you can see, we're doing things a little bit differently. So we normally have me and one other person, sometimes two. Today, for the very first time, we got 3 guests in here. So as you guys know, I am on a mission to create 100 millionaires. The information on this show alone is enough to help you become a millionaire in the next 5 to 7 years. If you be consistent, you will become one. As you guys are aware as well, we are creating a list of objections and how to overcome them. So if you want that list, text objections to 33777. And I got to always say, this show is brought to you by our sister company, InvestorLift. Go to investorlift.com, put in Disruptors to get 10% off. And as I understand it, InvestorLift is sponsoring 2023 Closest Olympics.
Absolutely.
Right? The big sponsor.
Yeah, they're the big boy, the grand sponsor.
Grand sponsor. And they're doing a special day 3 challenge.
Day 4.
Day 4 challenge.
Yep.
For Dispo.
Dispo day.
So definitely check out the Closest Olympics. So we got here Keith, Elijah, Alex. All 3 have already been on the show before.
Yeah.
But why don't we real quick go around and introduce ourselves?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My name is Keith Everett, Real Estate Diddy. Been in real estate, 7 years now, 400 to 500 deals. I love sales myself. And I'm in out of Alabama, Huntsville.
Yes, it's your guy, elijah.rubin. I'm known as the Fire Damage King. Oh, I thought you gave me the crisp. I know you like it.
The King of Crisp. You haven't embraced it, but I still love the King of Crisp.
I love cheese crisp too much. They call myself the crisp. But been doing real estate for in my 19th year. Going into my 20th year, closed over 1,000 plus deals, over $300 million worth of transactions completed. I'm just an average guy with a unique skill set.
Love it. Guys, well, first of all, thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
alexsaenz, I started real estate at the age of 19, now 26, 500 plus deals closed. Been able to do deals in about 15 to 20 states, primarily through online marketing, and now in aviation as well. So lots has gone on throughout the years.
Yeah, the old man here at 26.
Old man.
The grizzled vet. Yeah. So before we even get into 2023, right? Like this all started in 2020 with the original Closers Olympics. Mm-hmm. So what prompted the original Closers Olympics?
I know we were just talking about this. It's fresh.
Yeah.
We were just talking about this, and there's no sports, there's no entertainment. You couldn't go out because of the pandemic. And everybody still had to switch up their model, and was struggling to do the virtual sales. So me and Keith were on a call. We just kind of talked like, "Yo, are you closing deals?" Yeah, I'm closing deals. Like, hey, I had my best year. I mean, I'm having my best year ever virtually closing deals. Like, man, but how do we know who's gonna be the best closer?
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Yeah, man. So what we did was, called Elijah. We got on the phone, and I was thinking at that time during the pandemic, everybody was kind of like, panicking, and I'm like, what if we was able to bring everybody together instead of, the competition? What if everybody was to collaborate all together and we get the top people in the industry, get them together, let's have this big sales competition, but at the same time, we can make it educational. And that's when we got on the line, we started talking about it, and next thing you know, we brought everything to light and everybody was down for it. So,
yeah, and I remember because Gary Vee talks about if you can entertain and educate at the same time, right? That's how you grow a following. Mm-hmm. And I remember even before Closest Olympics really took off, there was a little bit of cold calling competitions. I think CJ was involved in them.
Yep.
Aaron was involved in them.
I was involved. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And so you guys are doing this and people are watching, you guys have something here. Right. So it was were you guys seeing that? It's okay, hey, we have something, let's launch it. Or was it all right, we're going to do this and no matter what.
Well, I remember 5-6 years before some of the other gurus out here doing it, I did 100 episodes live. Just
I remember that.
And so I knew that there was an audience for it who wanted it. I saw the value of it, but I mean, there's a lot of logistics and systems and structure to set things up. That's why we needed somebody like Alex to help organize this and structure and get it out to the masses the right quality way. Mm-hmm. But I know we were talking about hey, how to help people close more deals without watering down our real efforts and energy, what we really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just want to get, we always had a dream of just getting all the top guys, in the industry and just wanted to see who the best though. You know, the competition point.
Well, there's a lot of trash talking before.
Yeah,
Of
for
course,
sure, for
everybody's
sure.
saying they're the best.
A lot of people say they were the best.
Right. Everybody still, you know, they still think so. So you know,
Yeah, I mean, it was unfortunate. You know, there's some little controversy because like the top 3 didn't make it to the finals, but that's a whole nother story, right? We'll bring that drama up later on.
Yeah, we'll
right?
get into that.
But you know, you guys started this, and you guys had identified your 12. So first of all, we got to talk about why I was not on the first 12 list. Let's talk about why Steve wasn't on the starter list.
We'll see. Steve, we saw your jump shot.
That really happened?
We saw Steve's jump
Allegedly.
shot, and it was like if his jump shot is like his closing game. I don't know. It got better. But what's really crazy too is what's funny about this is that we had to close all the closers.
Oh, you did?
Everybody, we didn't pay anybody up front. We had to sell them on. Hey, this is a virtual event. I know people pay you hundreds of thousands of dollars to come event, but we need you to do this for free.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a big event, and we'll pay you on the back end.
Yeah, give us your time, put your brand on the line, put your community on the line, like everybody then joined. But yeah, it was tough to get everybody together.
Well, and you guys had 12, right?
Yeah.
And then someone backed out, right? They backed out because they were concerned about their reputation.
Correct.
Yes. Right.
Correct.
And then I get this text message from you. Like, hey, Steve, like, can you talk? I was like, yeah, sure. Like, what's up? You know, what's going on? And, like, you, do you remember this conversation? You want to kind of share how that conversation went?
And so from what I remembered, all right,
Yeah.
you know, at my age, you know, things start getting a little blurry these days. All right, but I remember just reaching out to you and asking you, hey, are you open for the idea? And I knew that you were already you specialize in clothes because when we talked at my office. And I saw that you have a different style than everybody else's.
Right.
And I saw that at that time you just started taking some sales classes really seriously. I mean, you dedicated your time.
Yeah.
When I was saying that, once I know you honor your craft, that's a different level of sales. And we both had an appreciation for the Kung Fu and your ability to be disciplined for Kung Fu. I knew when you played this way, you're going to be a player.
Yeah. So I remember because it was actually Jesse Burrell, right? It's like,
Connected us.
he's like, well, why don't you get Steve involved? And, you know, the other person had to back out for whatever reasons, right? And do you remember exactly what I said? I was like, are you in? You remember what I said?
What did you say? Remind me.
Not only am I in, I'm going to win.
right.
Yeah, you were talking that talk. Spicy.
I'm going to win. And as a result, I'm going to sell a lot of sales training, right?
Yep.
That was the mindset. The other guy was like, if I lose, it's going to hurt my sales in sales
Right.
training. I was like, I'm going to win and sell a lot of sales training. So I actually owe a lot of you guys. I know I've shared this with you, but maybe I haven't shared this with you two.
Yeah.
Right? But Closers Olympics actually was a big step for myself personally
Yeah.
in launching the sales training. Because prior to Closers Olympics, like Steve's just a podcaster,
Yeah.
but they forgot.
That you're about that, you about that action.
But
I didn't get hit by chance.
I think a big reason was the skill set that you displayed at the time.
Right.
Is that I seen you, you know, you got hit with so many things and you kept overcoming the objections.
Yeah.
And I even thought the call was just like, there's no way that he gonna get anywhere with this call. And then I'm watching it still, I'm like, man,
So surgical.
he's still there. Like he's still in there. And I always took that from you though. You know, you never know.
You can't keep us down, right? So,
Yeah.
but because of that, I've actually sold a ridiculous amount of sales training,
Yeah.
right? Because of that event. So, you know, I know I've shared that with you, but I don't know if I've shared it with the rest of you guys.
Yeah.
Like that was a big deal for me. And so we did the competition. There was a little bit of drama, right?
As always.
Actually, before we even get to the drama, we'll get one of the things another thing I actually owe a lot of thanks to you guys is that we have part in the disruption, right?
Wow.
Because I was already friends with CJ, I was already friends with RJ, right?
Yeah.
But putting a bunch of us into a competition together, there was conversation. Hey, we need some more trash talking, and like RJ didn't need very much motivation.
Right.
He's a natural trash talker.
That's just how you do.
Right, and it just went crazy with the trash.
The chat was
It was nuts. And another one of my favorite memories from that was actually Donnie. Do you remember?
Donovan was talking crazy until he exited and put his best acquisition guy in.
Yeah, but remember we had the launch, and it didn't quite go until you stepped in, right? Like Alex came in and saved the day.
He's known to do that for several companies.
Yeah.
But prior to Alex coming in and saving the day, we used a different website. And like Donovan just like went to town.
Because it crashed the site. We didn't think it was going to be this big.
Yeah, who made
crashed
this
the site. Oh, yeah, who
Fiverr
made this site?
website?
Yeah, he went crazy on it, right?
Dang.
But it was
Fiverr.
such a great event, and it brought a lot of us closer together, right?
Yeah.
And then we had was it 2 days the very first time?
Yep.
Yep.
It was just 2 days.
It was 2 days, and I felt bad because I think Max Maxwell and Brent Daniels had to go like the full run
Yeah, and
Right.
Carlos, yeah.
Yeah, Carlos.
Carlos.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
Carlos.
Well, was Carlos really working?
Yeah, he's getting bribes. He's getting bribes. He's getting bribes over there. Who knows?
I remember they put on like some Halloween costumes.
Halloween
or something.
masks.
They were like so tired of it. They're like, just put
I mean, it's like 6-hour days. It's like real like long days. Like they had to go through, which we didn't quite anticipate. Like 30 minutes each person.
Yeah.
And there's 12 of us. You do the math.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Keith got screwed.
Yeah,
Definitely.
You know what?
Nobody
I
answered.
learned
Yeah,
a lesson
that
though,
numbers,
man. That was a turning point for as far as like my character. You know what I mean? Like at that night, I was not the biggest fan of Elijah. But I
Well,
learned,
let's real quick. Let's share what happened.
happened,
Let's share what happened, and then the lessons you learned.
So I was so hyped up to be the last person to close, but I never factored in that it was gonna be nighttime. It got too late. People wasn't answering. I think it was a Friday or Saturday at that time.
It's Friday.
Friday
it's
night.
nighttime.
And I was so hyped, and I'm calling, nobody answering. The clock running on me, nobody answering. And I never really got a chance to, to really talk to anybody like that. And I thought that I was, I should have got the opportunity to keep on, going. But then again, I realized that I didn't. So I was just like, dang. So everybody was here to watch me, and I didn't even get a chance to display my talent like I know I can. And it was just like, it was frustrating though. You know what I mean? So
going back, I know we closed multiple deals. I had one, right? The guy made $20K on.
wow.
Where, I closed them on the phone, and then it took like 3 weeks from the sign of contract, right? But, talk to me about the wins and like what you guys saw afterwards. What was the benefit to the community after Closers Olympics was done?
Yeah, I mean, just hearing, the tree growing from what happened at the first event to part of the disruption, the relationship with CJ and RJ, and then sales training, that happened all across, right? Like brands were built, people that have communities now, and it grew. I think the biggest thing for the community was like the real proof of concept. Like this wasn't some pre-recorded event where it's polished and edited and all the freckles are gone on the camera. Like no, like this was like a real live event.
This guy looks thinner in this video. Right?
Yeah, exactly. It's Photoshop pictures and whatnot, but it showed a real life aspect of the sales process in real estate, and it showed people on what it actually takes to get deals and having to going through all the no's and the tough conversations and people not answering. Like that's a real life thing that happens in this industry. So it just showed the proof of concept for people, and that really propelled it quite a bit.
Yeah, and I one of the reasons why I love watching sports, I don't watch as much as I used to, is you love to see how people battle through adversity.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right.
Yep.
So like if you watch like the Miami Heat, right? They didn't win the championship, but they don't complain about the officiating.
Right.
That's
No,
facts.
no, exactly.
Right, it's just about the business, right?
Yep.
Like one of the things that I learned was like you got to play through the officiating,
Yep.
Yeah.
right? You don't let the officiate. Like, you got to be so good
Yeah.
that there's no suspicious. Like even
Yeah.
if the judging
their
was like
hands.
off,
Yeah.
it doesn't even matter, right?
Yeah.
You put it out of
Get
his
out
hands,
Yep.
right? So it was kind of fascinating to see that, and we got to see some people get flustered, some people didn't. Now you were you weren't one of the original organizers, right? You kind of came in to save the day.
Yeah, I was 911 call
Right.
for
He's
help.
the rescue line. The rescue
Right.
line.
Yeah,
So, but your boy made it to the finals,
yeah, Adrian,
right?
yep. And Andy, yep, both of them.
So Adrian won, and Andy made it to the finals. Talk to me about what happened for the people that watched, because you guys had over 1,000 people.
Yeah. Like 13, the first one for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to me, like, did you see any, like, how did the people that signed up and watched, how did they win?
Man, I've seen, especially the audience, I feel like not only did I think they had a multiple unknown benefits that happened. I think at first they're just watching because they're supporting whoever their favorite guru was.
Yeah, rooting for their guy.
Right, rooting for the guy, the favorite team. But unlike basketball, I could watch the basketball game, and I could watch them, and I leave. This here, I'm learning skill set. I'm seeing technique. I'm seeing how they deal with adversity. I'm seeing how they blaming leads, blaming judges, or focus on the controllables. And then at that time, we had people allow them to send their leads in.
Yeah.
We were calling their leads. So people literally walked out with $15,000, $20,000 they ended up making by having these top closers close, and they got the relationship with them now.
Right.
So I feel like that's an added bonus. I don't think they really anticipated happening.
Yeah.
And that's a definitely tremendous value they got.
Yeah, I think another thing is just people, they're sharing their favorite coaches and everything like that, competing in the competition. And just for people to be like, you know what? he going through the same thing that I go through on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that right there, it helped people overcome certain objections, and also people identify their closing style, from the people that was in the competition. Like, you know what? I resonate more with Steve, so let me go to Steve's training, or I resonate more with Elijah. So I think that was a good thing too, And
I think one of the things that you see when they're watching their favorite guy go or whatever, this person that was an influencer who was like talking at the camera on Instagram,
right?
And I say, oh, like he's actually not that much better than me on the phone,
right.
And
humanized them,
right? It's not a bad thing, right?
Right.
But what we did is we made closing more realistic for them. So it went from this thing as like, can I ever do this?
One day over there.
Right? Like, yeah, man, I'm going to work up the courage one day. And then there were people that posted that chat, for better or for worse. They're like, these guys aren't that much better than me.
I saw it for a handful of guys.
Right? It's like,
it's crazy too. Is
I should be doing this.
Right? Because we won't mention any names, but when you're making calls and you're in your office, you could go a little gray. You go a little gray, walk to that line. Sometimes some people cross the line, some people don't.
Right.
But nobody knows. When you have 1,000+ people watching you, the chat box like, he's lying. He lied to him. And then you fail and you lose. It just has a different level of sting to it. But I think it humanizes it. And so I think by having that humanizing factor, you got to start seeing like, hey, if I come to the gray line, that can happen to me.
Right.
Let me just do it the right way and I don't have to worry about it.
Well, it's funny you talk about the gray line, right? Because remember the guy that was really angry, right? It was really colorful with his language, right?
Yeah.
We had over 1,000 people watching. So I didn't get the deal, right? If we don't have 1,000 people watching, I'm getting that deal.
Right.
Because the things I can say,
Right. Out of that.
To your point, yeah.
It's a little different.
right? Like I can't promise you to pay you outside of escrow. 1,000 people watching and it's recorded.
Yeah, you don't want to
Broker's license on the line.
tactics.
The guy's saying, he's like, hey, I'm trying to avoid paying taxes on this. I can't say, well, what if there's a way?
I can creatively make that happen. Divert the IRS.
Like, there's a way.
Yeah, what if I pay you, in crypto, right? In Bitcoin. Like I can't say these things with 1,000 people watching. It's like,
right.
Like here's what I want to say. Here's what I'm going to say right now.
Right.
It does change
Really
it.
investments.
Okay, so that's how a bunch of people won, right? And then you guys did it again. Was it last year? So 2 years
22.
later.
Hold on
Okay.
a second. We can't go past our little situation. Before we get to year 2, we had a year 1 situation, right?
Which one?
All right. So,
Which one out of the three?
Right.
so let's get to it. Let's get to it. All right. So year one, Adrian made it to the finals. We had the Max Harvey situation, right? So, all right. So we had a little blooper.
Oh yeah.
So you and I were going against each other in round 2. You absolutely killed it, and that's when I was like, whoa! I totally different level of respect for your skill set. Absolutely, when I seen like, whoa. I'm like, damn, I gotta really step up. I thought for sure, besides you, and maybe say like, man, I've been doing this for like 19 years at that time, 17 years, not a question. I'm like, whoa, you guys are all good, and it is style. Because I thought your personality was gonna turn some people off. I seen you morph to people. I seen you match very differently. I didn't know you had that in your bag. So your competition was really hard, and so I got really close on my numbers, did some seller finance numbers, and I thought I lost and so Max, Carlos rated, Brent rated, Max went, and technically they said, all right, you scored the points. And so I remember literally looking at my head like, feel my heart lost the turn the t-ball game, the little kid. I felt like look down. I even looked down, and then I heard, hold up, and I looked down, and he's like, oh, hold on, we scored the points differently. And then they gave us a round 2. And
Right,
first
they gave
time we
us
went to
overtime. Yep.
Went to overtime, and then I was able to pull out a buzzer beater.
You did.
Pulled out a
You pulled
buzzer
out
beater.
2 in the competition.
Caught 2 buzzer beaters, like literally down to like the last 4 or 5 seconds.
Crazy.
Are you in or out? Yes. And so going to that second round and having the Max Harvey situation happen, it was funny. It created some controversy, and just being the number 2 closer in the country that second time. The first time, like you said, it really did a boom to the brand. I had people like, hey, how can I learn like you?
Right.
I didn't think it was going to be like that,
Right.
And so seeing that happen, it made me really want to win the next year, and now we can get to the next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know all in. We got quite a bit of mentorships from Adrian winning that year. So I think
and
all the
Andy
contestants
three.
won. Yeah, and Andy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Carlos was one of the judges, right?
Yeah, perhaps.
Hey, look, I've never said anything about that, right? I've never had, because RJ said it for all of us. So
RJ was mad as hell that Carlos was one of the judges. But I think, like I said, the best part about this, what I really think, no matter, controversy or not, you can't fake a seller saying yes.
Right.
They will hang up on you just like they hang up on anybody else. You can't trick them into giving you a good number. It's unapologetically real.
right.
Yeah. I think the second one had two of the greatest stories that probably, ever graced the competition. The first one was, RJ not winning that first year, and he did 50 Yeah, 50
deals
states.
in 50 states in 50 days.
Yeah.
He's
So
insane. Yeah.
when I seen RJ doing that, I knew he was gonna be trouble because I'm like, he got way too many reps,
He's
and
seen
it's gonna be
everything.
tough though.
Taking it serious.
And the second one was we started the open run, which is the first day of the competition, right? And it gave people who didn't really have a brand the opportunity. Like you said, some people was watching the first year, like, I really can compete in this. Monif. That was probably like
Hands
number
down.
one, the greatest story from nobody knowing who he was till after the competition. His brand blew up. He got married. He got a kid. He got a mustache. He gained a little weight. You know what I mean? But seriously though, that was like, nobody thought a guy from the first day of the open run was gonna make it to the to the championship
Finals.
rounds.
Yeah.
That's crazy though.
Yeah.
Right. And just I remember doing the open run, we had to do some role playing session with him. And we role play a lot of people, and like he's like on a phone, you barely can hear him. He's in some like barn,
Yeah.
and he kills it. And so we had to put him in. And I remember pacing, hey, my guy is going to make it. He put $10,000 on Munif, said he's gonna be a top 3. We're like, Pace, shout to Pace. But I'm like, hey, I don't know who this guy is. You're playing against real players. I don't think that's gonna happen. So for him to be an introvert, a true introvert, and be able to show that he could be a lethal closer, I think that just shows all the other people who may not be big names, or big styles, or big personalities. There's a pocket for you too to win in this real estate game.
Do you think he's an introvert?
I think now I try to hang out with him. Don't get me wrong, if he knows you, he's pretty cool. But when you're around other people, he will. You talk. You go first.
Yeah,
Hold his latte.
he's quiet.
He's quiet.
Yeah,
He's
for sure.
quiet,
For sure.
but I'm not sure he's an introvert.
Yeah.
I'm saying that is because he's a natural chameleon, right? So after the podcast or after the Closest Olympics 2022 was done, I was like, all right, let's just kind of do like a breakdown. So we had like House Buying Brian, we had Munif, we had Max, we had RJ, and we just did a bunch of different shows.
Yeah.
Right. And I actually like dug into it with Munif because he was such a natural closer. And I asked him a bunch of questions, like, because would I say he was excellent tactically?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he was excellent tactically. Right. But he is one of the best I've ever seen
Right.
at mirroring.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Easy.
So like physically, emotionally, volume, like you're smiling, he's smiling, like, and it's like instant, like he's a chameleon. And so that's why I'm asking, like, is he really an introvert? Because he is so good at mirroring, like he doesn't even have to think about it.
Right.
Right. Like it doesn't have to like, all right, Elijah just crossed his arm, I got to cross my arm. Like it's not even that. Like it's just so
Subtle.
That's a good point.
natural to him.
Yeah.
And I know he's the best closer with holding a latte in his hand. He's like,
Yeah.
it's Munif.
Yeah.
And he held without dripping and dropping. I mean, that's
Yeah.
really dope.
Yeah. And then there was let's see who else. There's a little bit of controversy as well.
Yes.
I got it kind of tied into this one. Do you remember that guy that was the reporter?
The reporter?
Yeah, he was in Michigan, or he was calling leads in Detroit. So like something happened. I think someone had to bow out, and then Christina came in as a sub.
Yes.
Right? It was me, CJ, and Christina.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Right.
And you had to step in there.
Yeah, so Christina had to step in, and like I was judging kind of harsh.
Kind of harsh.
Yeah.
Yo, we gotta get into that part.
No, yeah.
We gotta get into
was tough, yeah.
Simon, Stephen Cowell. All right. We gotta get into that.
So I was judging kind of harsh, and then Christina kind of came in, and she's like bubbly, right? And I hear this guy's story. Like I quit
Yeah.
my reporter job, getting married, just
Yeah.
had a baby, or she's pregnant. Right?
Noah.
Yeah,
It was
Noah.
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 Right.
Yeah.
And like Christina's heart just melted, right? And she's just rooting for this guy, right?
As a judge.
As a judge, she's just rooting for this guy, right?
Steve looking like
So like, slap that tissue box out of your head.
Right? And so she gives up until that point the highest point total in the tournament, right?
wow.
Up until this point, she gave the highest point total to the tournament. It was like 28 out of 30, right? And everyone's like, and even in the comments are like, what, like 28? Like, was it really 28? Right? It was something like along those lines. And then like CJ went after him and he was anchored.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, I mean, I was 26. Right. And then like, all right, Steve, what do you think? I was like, I gave him an 8. Right? Which was the lowest score in the tournament up until this point.
8. Ouch.
I think someone got a 0, right? Or
No, yeah, Max gave Aaron.
Yeah,
got 0,
Max
but
gave Aaron a 0. That was rough.
Yeah, that
those could be one
Like
Caribbean.
Max don't care.
Right.
Feelings don't matter when it comes to Max Maxwell.
28 and 8 is 2 different things. That's a 20-point
Wait,
difference.
sweet.
Yeah.
So what was the difference that you seen that she might not have seen?
Well, I think that again, I think she's super charismatic and she loves people. She wants she wants to root for you, right?
Right.
And if I were to guess, right, I think she's a lot more subjective and more feeling oriented.
Right.
Right. Whereas you guys know me pretty well, I don't have very many feelings.
Really?
Right.
pretty objective, yeah.
Yeah, everything's tactical, and it's a yes or a no, right? Did you do this? Did you not do it? And if you didn't do it well, it's not like a 3 out of 5. It's like a 1 out of 5.
Right.
And so I went with what I thought was like, the assessment, and like it was, and I actually talked to him afterwards as well. I was like, hey, look, I didn't mean to beat you up.
Right.
I'm just calling it exactly how I see it and how I would assess you if you were working on my team. Right. Here are the things I would want you to improve on.
Yeah.
Right.
To work on my team.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were some people that were concerned about my judging throughout.
Yes, and I heard a little birdie mention I had a really good call that ended up closing that deal, and I just didn't get quite the right amount of points from some judges didn't have the calculator correct. I guess the calculation was off, and but now after I got past my emotions and I got my feelings right, and I went back and watched it. I'm like, I can see why you came with that. Like, all right, I rushed them on certain points, and we've been in enough business. Well, people say yes, but they're going to ghost you later. You may not get the contract. And because I didn't get it right then when I had a chance to, I understand why I didn't get the points. But you still give me some points.
So Steve, as a judge, did you consider like the different types of closing styles?
I mean, I didn't really consider the closing styles really more because we have our score sheet, right? Which is definitely something that everyone's going to be more on the same page this year, right? But we have the score sheet and it's a 1 to 5, right? So based off of 1 to 5, we're going to look at that. So I don't look at, because we don't rate on like, how much you pull away or how thirsty you are, right? Because there's different approaches, right? Like, are you a hard closer, or you're like, yeah, if it happens, it happens. That's more my approach, right?
Right.
You're not going to completely push me away, but I'm gonna keep moving forward steadily. That's like my approach. Whereas more people are going to be more like, asking for the sale.
Yep.
That's not accounted into the judging, right? And I'm fine with that. What I'm really more looking at, and this kind of like when I was picking on you last year, was if the guy says, yeah, let me have my attorney to take a look at it, like we're dealing with his attorney objection right then and there.
Facts. That's facts.
Like, hey, you want to have your attorney look at it, like, tell me more about that. I must have done something to lose your trust. You have attorney review everything you sign. Like when you buy your last card, you use an attorney, like help me understand here, right? So like, these are things like, because the biggest thing is like, what we preach about in our sales training is it's not enough to get a signed contract. You got to get it through the finish line. One of my first mentors in real estate said, real estate's the big league of sales. Like, well, that's kind of claim. Like, that's a pretty bold claim, right?
For
Like,
all type of sales.
like we're not selling like $100 million buildings, right?
Right.
At least we're not. And he was like, well, think about it this way. Like when we're doing real estate, they got to be closed for 30 days, for 90 days.
Right.
Right. So like if I sell you a stereo or even if I sell you a car, right? I get you to buy this nice Lexus fully loaded, right? You call me back an hour later. I don't want this anymore. I was like, tough luck, buddy.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
so
ain't nothing
close.
you can do about it.
Yeah. But I agree to buy your house. I got to make sure you answer titles call,
Inspection period.
Other people walking
Payoff
through
statements and all the
right. Hey, lender says you owe a little bit more than you said you did, right? Now we got to keep them sold. Like, hey, I know you wanted to walk away with X amount. Now you got to walk away with that amount. There's a whole lot involved. So like,
Facts.
when we were talking about the attorney part, it was like anything that I got to button up, I want to walk out of that agreement with like knowing I laid everything on the line and nothing can come back to bite me, at least not from that situation.
Yeah.
And so for the record, there's no saltiness from me being year one. You're on the record now. There's no salty for year one.
The official record.
And that they played into your decision for year 2.
Yeah. No. I mean, why would it? Like, again.
Okay. You're still mortal.
It would require me to have feelings, right?
Good point. And if I don't have feelings,
That's a great point
good
right there.
Touche. And because we realized you didn't have feelings, that's why you're back for year 3.
Yeah, actually, as a matter of fact, you and I had a private conversation. We haven't really shared this out publicly, right? You're like, hey, like you and Max have gone your separate ways.
Yeah, yep.
Right? It's like,
we
hey,
talk about it.
Are you going to be okay with this? Like, yeah, like we left on good terms. Right. So like, you don't have to worry about that at all. Like whatever is going on afterwards, like whatever, I can turn it off.
Yeah.
And said, kind of, I don't know if I shared this with you. Said this before on the podcast, right? I can be a bit of a sociopath, right? So like
a bit.
I think all successful entrepreneurs can be.
Right.
Like
to some extent.
We can turn off our emotions, do what we got to do. Yeah. And then if we want to turn our emotions back on later on, we can turn our emotions back on later on.
That's facts. Yeah.
Especially this game beats you up so much where you can't. If you have any feelings, you can be sitting in the corner crying, they won't take my call.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to make this all about me, right? But like one of my first jobs out of high school was a cold call center.
Oh, yeah?
Right? I didn't know that.
So I worked at a cold call center, and man, being 18 years old and being cursed out and hung up on all day. I mean, you actually went through that.
Yeah.
From a different scenario, but you were working for yourself.
Well, I did my first job. Well, first job was like Sprouts, pushing carts and whatnot. But my first like real job was a call center collection agency. So I learned like
collection agency.
there.
Yeah, see, I'm trying to say
It was the worst.
I didn't know that.
But I learned so many valuable.
Well, collection agency is like the best place to learn. So I'm selling like ESPN magazines, credit cards, encyclodias.
Oh, you getting beat up?
Oh, yeah. Right. I don't need none of that. There's no need.
And I got upset because like I'm buying like ESPN the magazine for like $26 a year, right? But if you don't renew, they're gonna call you up and they're gonna offer like $12 a year. I was like, I didn't get
man.
What's my $12 price?
I didn't get my $12 a year, right? So I'm selling over the phone. But anyway, going back to 2022, so we had Munif was a magic story. I think there was another person too though that had a really good story that year.
Like Munif made it. And that was really strong. I think Max, being Max, that a lot of people didn't know Max. Max just kind of Max as your partner.
Right.
You really know that he's a really bona fide closer.
He stepped up too.
And he stepped in there.
Yeah.
And then I think just RJ just coming with the confidence he had, doing the 50-50. He's talking crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And he delivered. That's a little different. A lot of people talk a lot of crap, but do you deliver? Do you put up a triple-double?
Yeah.
He did.
I think you said something earlier, Steve, about, not making any excuses, though. A great closer get it done regardless. Just like RJ, not only he was in the finals, his son was in a hockey tournament.
Right.
And he in the hotel room trying to make sure his son not, being too loud, and he still brought home the belt.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to respect that win. When RJ won, I wasn't even mad because I'm like, he deserved it because what he did before the tournament or the competition, and then, what he did during it. So I'm just like, you got to respect it. He put the work in. You know what I mean?
RJ absolutely crushed it. Yeah, he was a big winner that year. I think there was another. I guess Munif was the biggest story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one big challenge we had that I think we showed up this year is that we had some judges, not yourself, right, who just we thought we're going to know the real estate game a little better and really be a bona fide closer because we bought into their branding. But when you get here, closer, everybody's going to see that you don't know what you're talking about. You're rating things wrong. You're not noticing things. They're in the comments calling out judges. We'll leave their name unknown.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, but there are some judges that went. I'll identify it this way: that day one, they weren't right points, or missing steps, was missing insight, was kind of lost, and so that's why we wanted the best closers and the best judges, because if you don't, it kind of waters down the value.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm looking forward to being the Simon Colligan this year. So you guys did your second year again. Like the same question I'm asking for the first year. Like, what were some of the biggest wins you saw for people after? So we talked about Munif's win and RJ's win and so on. What, as far as like the audience, the people that were buying in, like what did you see there?
I think the biggest win was also, you got to bring back again one more time Munif, because now you got people that's watching who never knew who that was. Like, you know what? If he can do it, why can't I do it? You know what I mean? Just because I don't have the biggest brand don't mean I'm not the best closer. So I think that the second competition, that really was a statement for everybody. Now I think that it gave the whole industry some confidence.
Yeah, the ability to relate. They could relate more to Munif than somebody with a huge brand. So it added a deeper connection with actually doing it for themselves. And I think another thing was what really made like a huge impact, on our team on the back end was we heard there was like 40 virtual assistants, like having like a hosting party, like in the Philippines. They're watching the tournament. It's like 40. I don't know if they were like in a lunchroom or cafeteria or something, but they're just watching the tournament. I'm like, dang, this actually extends pretty far.
That's
this
cool.
helps a lot of people.
Yeah.
And
that's what I'm saying.
that touched our heart.
Super
'cause
dope.
There's just a
Yeah.
commitment to do that, and it was awesome.
And RJ even mentioned it to me. Like, he's like, he had people in Israel looking at the people in Brazil is a lot bigger. And the way I started seeing it was a lot bigger because I started getting tagged on people I don't even know.
Yeah.
Like, well, you guys are watching, and they're showing their whole offices. And I remember Tommy, shout out to Tommy, year 2, we ended up closing a deal in North Carolina. And then closing that deal, like, he ended up making like $8,000. We ended up making $12,000. And I remember he tagged me. He's like, "Oh crap, Elijah's calling my lead. He's calling my lead, bro." And as he said, as I'm calling it, Max didn't come like, "Hey, at that price, I'll buy it." So we almost dispoed the deal, and I get the deal, and somebody's
Right.
watching it by them paying $97. He ended up making $7,000.
Yeah.
And then being highlighting him and edifying him. Now he has his whole team all watching Close Olympics this year. So I didn't really see that, second, third tier value that was being provided.
Yeah.
Now it's like real now.
The training material,
Yeah.
like, it helps
Oh, yeah.
a lot. Like I know we would instruct our like students to make it part of their onboarding process for sales.
Right.
Like a 5-day like hardcore onboarding process, but then like additional content, like it's the best they can watch because it's real closers closing real life leads.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And then there was a little bit of controversy as well as far as, why is it only dudes in closes?
Oh yeah, we went through that.
the
They
second
came
year
from-
we fixed that. The
second
second
year we
year.
brought Lauren. We brought Lauren in second year, and we modded Kristen in as a female judge. And we understand, like, ladies are, guys, they're the best closers because they're used to being the prey. So they have a unique understanding of psychology of how to be the predator if they have to.
Right.
And so I feel like ladies are the best closers. Unfortunately, at the moment, there's just not as many of them, but that's greatly changing now. I think that's changing. So
Yeah. So then you guys added a free run, kind of eliminate this problem.
Yep.
So
Yep.
this year, how many free runs did you guys have this year?
6 of them.
It's
Six.
6 free runs.
Yeah.
All right. So everyone that's complaining,
right.
Yeah.
We
Right.
had qualifiers. We had 6
You had
qualifiers.
qualifiers.
Yeah.
so
No
how
excuses.
how could someone, not for this year because this year is past,
Mhm.
but maybe next year, right? What do they need to look out for to apply for the qualifiers?
They locked in and closed the Olympics, Instagram and the Facebook page. We're going to be dropping information when's the next time we're going to open it up. And we just really we want to make sure that we highlight people all around the country. You remember the N1 mixtapes back in the
Oh,
day? I actually went to it and thought I was going to play with hot sauce. I thought, I tried it, but it didn't work out. But I remember just the hope of me going there. If I play good enough, I could be on.
Yeah.
Right.
And we wanted that kind of feeling for everybody in the country.
So that's why you call it free run.
Yeah, no, the open run. We had the open run.
Open
Yeah,
run,
exactly. I felt that way for the open run because they did an open run on day one. But yeah, we wanted everybody to qualify, and we saw like, hey, there's a better way to highlight other people all around the country who we may never heard of, and Munif made it very clear to us. There's a whole nother level of closers out there that we just because we don't know them don't mean they don't exist.
Of course. So we had 6 open runs this year. For one for each month leading up to the event.
Yes.
Okay. So who are some dark horses that we don't know about?
Scotty.
Ooh.
That guy Scotty out of California, right?
Scotty Bot.
Yeah.
So.
He different.
Yeah.
He confident. He his knowledge, his wisdom, real estate is top tier. He gonna be somebody that you got to watch out for. 'Cause
Scotty?
He
Yeah,
he can
Scotty.
get creative.
First
He can go
round.
straight down the whatever you want him to do. He can do it.
Yeah. I think RJ said specifically on one of our shows that he's afraid of Scotty. So just
Yeah. That he's afraid of him, exactly.
afraid of him. I think if I remember correctly. I mean, I
Afraid
might
is the word.
I might be misquoting RJ.
I
was like, I don't know if that's in his
concerned, maybe
vocabulary.
lightly concerned.
I might
lightly
be
concerned.
misquoting. I mean, I think scared. It was something along those lines. All right, so Scotty.
And Scotty was also good at explaining creative findings. Very easy to sell. I haven't seen. I mean, I feel like I do a good job. Obviously, Pace does a quality job at it. Scotty's probably one of the best ones I've seen simplify a very intricate deal he had to do. It made it so much easier for the audience to understand.
Yeah.
Homeowners. So I think that's really good. Kendall, shout out to Ken on K2. Ken out of Atlanta, Georgia. I mean, he's part of the ET family. I've seen him for years, and just around a good character and integrity person. And he's been saying, "Man, I want to get my skill sets for a while." He ended up going to a couple momentums, and
He did, yeah.
you remembered him most of the time. And now to see he took the skill sets and he took round 2.
Yeah.
Absolutely killed it. Absolutely, I'm really looking for him really starting out this year too.
Yeah.
Today's group is talented too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tyson and Guy and and
Oh,
Jen.
yeah.
And you know what's crazy though, right? We couldn't. That was like a little hard part of it. We had the new age, the next generation closers who was on last year's qualifiers. who all competed, didn't make it there. We couldn't get everybody in, right? Onto this year. So we bought naming over from that squad.
Noah.
And actually, we didn't put him with us initially. Noah had to be part of to go through the qualifiers. So he's like, well, why is name in there? I'm like, hey, it is what it is.
Right.
He has a little bit bigger brand. He built the brand up over that course of time. So Noah humbled himself. Like, all right, I'm gonna show you why you guys picked me to begin with. Noah got in, won it. Ricky, same thing. And Mr. Flip Lab got into it, won his round. So we can see we picked some good people last year, and they went and earned it this year.
Nice, very cool. So for everyone that's listening right now, like if they want to get involved and watch Closest Olympics, what are they in line for? What I can't think of the right word, but like what should they be looking forward to?
Man, I would say, as far as like the event, first and foremost, you can reach it on Closest Olympics YouTube, and also Closest Olympics Facebook page as well. And this year is going to be crazy. I would say that, come ready to go. Take notes. Make sure you're taking notes. Make sure that you know exactly, what your weaknesses are. So that way that once the competition start, you can leave with all your questions answered. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. And I'm looking forward to the underdog. Who is that next person that can inspire the people or inspire the industry? And I want to see if RJ, do we got what it takes? Is he really that guy? Nobody has won 2 times in a row.
No one's
Well, he's putting that in the us right now.
Yeah.
Oh, probably as we speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's coming to defend his title.
Yeah, he's coming, and that's why he got me dusting off my jersey over here. I'm about to start for the month of July. I'm about to start making live calls myself.
Yeah.
Just to get in it, and just getting in the sense of people watching you, and you have to slow down, watch that gray, and be able to execute with confidence. And I'm timing myself this time.
Yeah.
I think. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I think RJ gonna run into some controversy this year, trying to get that belt. Try to win it again. Watch, he gonna have to dig deep down this year. I got a feeling.
Well, I was talking to Elijah. Like CJ and I are starting a petition. Like we don't think he should get a waiver. Like, he should just start from the bottom, so I can judge him.
I think a big thing that's going to change this year than the other 2 years too. Is that we having PPC leads this year.
Oh, yeah.
And because we have PPC leads, I think the big part that kind of stopped Keith a couple of years is that he couldn't even get like a sale on the call, which is, it's just luck of the draw. This year is going to be different. We took special pride in getting some unique relationships for the PPCs, and we're using some of our sponsors to make sure that we cold call them, set appointments, really make sure that we're going to provide a good opportunity for each closer to get a real shot.
Yeah.
I think that's going to change the outcome of who's really going to get possibly laydowns versus who's got to really work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we got one last thing real quick too. We can't forget about the 4th day we added this year.
Yes.
We got Dispo Day, you know what I mean? So with investor lift and the deals that can, hopefully get closed on the Closer Olympics, we're going to dispo those deals on the 4th day. So that's going to be like crazy. So
who's dispoing those deals?
So it's 2 parts. So one, we're going to take some of the deals from the Close Olympics that are going to dispo that. And then all the VIP, everyone who gets a VIP ticket, should get your VIP ticket.
Yeah.
You're going to have the ability to send in any of your deals.
Oh,
and
that's huge.
Dispo them as well.
Nice.
And then so Robert himself is going to be one of the judges on the owner investor lift. And he's picking the top 3 dispo people because, they get the ratings and rankings on investor lift. Top 3 people have the ratings who are going to be the 3 dispo closers, and they're going to get their own separate belt. Who's going to be the king dispo closer.
That's huge. So it's 4 days now, or so 3 plus bonus day.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when are the dates?
July 28th is going to be day 1, and that's going to be the open run. That's where all the people competed from the qualifier.
Yep.
6 people are going to be in that on July 28th. Out of those 6 people, that's going to get wielded down to 3. Those 3 are going to go to day 2, July 29th. That's going to be the actual Close Olympics.
Yeah.
There's going to be a total of those 3 plus the 9 bona fide brands closers, so a total of 12 people. And that you have a long day that you, Christina, and Chris Jefferson are going to go through all 12 of those people. Then those 12 are going to get crunched down to final 3, and whoever gets the 3 highest scores out of those 12 are going to go into the championship day on the 30th. Only 3, those 3 are going to find out who's 1, 2, and 3, who has scores the most points, be king or queen closer. And then the 31st, July 31st, will be Dispo Day with the Dispo deals.
Is it 3 people? Is it 3 people plus RJ, or is it?
So we had to. So shout out to RJ. He brought a couple good ideas. And I love how creative RJ is, and I like the fact he takes this art really, really seriously.
Yes.
We talked about a couple different ways we could do it. You know, bring him in as an after whoever win. Like, but wait, you have one portion. You have the final villain to be, the final boss to be, like Super Mario Brothers, right?
Yeah.
But we're like, listen, I hear you, and although it's a good concept, Jordan couldn't take the playoffs off.
That's true.
He had to go through the Pistons. He had to go through the hard teams to become Jordan. So we're like, we want you to have to beat, because you might not get a good call. You know what you're going to do then.
Right.
And so he agreed with me. He's like, all right, I'll show everybody I'm the king close. I'm like, all right, you're going to see. So
he's on day 2.
So he's on day 2 with the rest.
Yeah.
He's screwed. Right here.
CJ now. No skewing him.
So I got to ask Steve a question. So what do you look for when you judging? Like out of a closer?
I look for. I'm committed to the process, right? So we were talking about Kung Fu a moment ago, right? Like everything we do in Kung Fu, it's all about process.
Yeah.
If you watch me play basketball, I'm not athletic. Actually, someone said like, I can tell you worked on your craft because you're not athletic. It's like, thank you.
That's a backhanded compliment.
That's a good compliment. I'll take
thank you, right? But like I'm committed to process, right? So for me, I'm looking for someone that has worked on their craft because I got a chance to listen to Matthew Pollard speak on stage. He spoke on stage last week at Collective Genius. And he talks about how introverts are generally outperform extroverts in the long run, right? And the reason why is because extroverts can rely on their charm. They can rely on their ability to connect and emote, right?
Right.
And so if you can rely on that, then you might cheat a little bit, or you might not work as hard in your craft,
Slack a little,
right?
Habits.
Right. So like, the example that I always use for some of like the lazier people I've trained is like, do you want to be Darius Miles or Kobe Bryant? Right. Because Darius Miles was every bit as athletic as Kobe Bryant, but he would rather smoke blunts.
Yeah.
And Kobe would rather put up shots.
It's true though.
Right. So I'm looking for someone that's committed to their craft. And so are they going to set the proper expectations beginning the call?
Yeah.
Can they deal with adversity, right? Because sellers get angry, right?
Quick.
Yeah.
They get angry, right? How well can you put up with it? How quickly can you calm them down?
Yeah.
Right. And in negotiation, like, are you anchoring effectively?
Yeah.
Right. Are you pulling away, or are you trying to steamroll the guy?
Yeah.
And then like getting the contract. Can you consistently get them to buy in to the process? As far as like, here are the next steps. Yeah. And as well as how deep can you get them emotionally and connect with them? Because I think some of the biggest things, right, is we hear a lot about building rapport. Yeah. Right? How well can you build rapport? I think rapport is the wrong thing to be pursuing when trying to buy someone's house. How much trust can you build? Right. Right. Because like rapport is, I'm trying to sell you a timeshare. I'm trying to sell you a nice watch.
Herbalife.
Right? Herbalife. Hey, look,
That's rapport,
I got this great MLM, right? Like, you're going to live your perfect life after you sign up for Herbalife, right? Like, you can get someone excited with rapport. Yeah. But you're not trying to get a homeowner excited when they're selling a house to you, right? You're trying to help them through a difficult situation. So I look at it more like a doctor. Yes. Right? Like, a doctor is going to be like, hey, look, I got some news for you. Like, we're going to have to operate. He's not going to be like, Steve, I don't really like you that much. I don't want to do it.
Right. Yeah, he's not challenging the doctor.
Right. Yeah. So I'm looking to see how much trust you can build with the prospect, and then how well can you. Another thing too is like, I'm a very big fan of storytelling. Right. I don't think there's anybody better on this planet that I've heard better at telling stories than Pace.
Right. We just talked about this too.
Storytelling
yesterday.
Yeah. Right. And so I want to see like who can build rapport, handle objections, maybe using stories. Right. Versus like, well, here's the way it is, here's the way it works, and like there's all this explaining, and like,
I had a client who did that. Eventually, you mentioned that. Yeah, going to that kind of story to happen.
All right, story time. So I'm looking to see who can follow the process. Now, I'm biased, obviously. I think our process is the best process, right? But our process has a lot of overlap with Sandler. Has a lot of overlap with the straight line selling. Yeah. A lot of overlap with the Midwest Revenue Group, right? Yeah. Like, there's a lot of overlap between all the different sales trainings. And the reason why is because it works if you do it consistently. Right. So I'm looking to see who's committed to the process, because if you're relying on charm, right? You're relying on rapport, that works when you feel good.
Right.
That does not work when you just had like beating after beating after beating, right? Like you're getting in the work late. There was traffic. You got cut off. You're not feeling it. Can't translate that same emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, those habits.
Yeah.
What do they say? Like said, you create your habits, and your habits end up building your life.
Right.
You know, and I really think that, and I really like the fact that you mentioned about the doctor approach.
Yeah.
I really think the doctor approach is the right mindset. All of closers and anybody's watching this, when you closing at your own house, you don't care if your doctor particularly likes you and builds a rapport with you. You want to trust them. You're building confidence with them. Right. They don't care if you take the prescription or not. They got 7 other clients. I mean, they got to help you. So you take the medicine or not. That's my professional opinion. They exude that energy. There's no, hey, I need to pay my bills breath on them, right?
Yeah.
There's no like, hey, look, I'm looking at 3 other doctors, right?
Yeah. But another good thing about a doctor is the questions that they ask the person.
Right.
Because if you don't ask the right questions, you ain't gonna. A doctor don't know what to prescribe you.
How to diagnose them.
Yeah. So you gotta, that's another thing. You gotta ask the right questions to get the right, result from a person. So that way you can, add value to them.
Yeah. The setup and the process. One of our buddies from a developer mastermind, he says, "Don't trust people, trust the process."
Yeah.
Yep.
And sadly, that's true.
And I'm like, and I've seen it like through dozens of sales guys that we've hired and fired, and even like the most upbeat, extravagant guys, like they rely too much on their charm, and they steer away from the process, and they get burnt out time after time.
Yeah, like you can see like and I'm not trying to beat up any like particular group, right? But you look at a lot of extroverts, is that they have that energy, right? And they got to stay caffeinated, and you got to continue to give that energy. But like once that energy wanes, like it's hard to be consistent.
Yeah.
If you're relying on that. Yeah.
And it does wane. It does, especially on the phones.
Yeah. Right? And that's why I'm really big on habits and practicing. And I like your analogy, but I think the better analogy that you have versus Darius Miles and Kobe is AI and Steph Curry. Right? I think AI is really, really good talent, right?
Yeah.
Good talent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But they want to practice.
Yeah. Practice?
All practice.
Combo.
You don't practice. You relied all on his talent.
Yeah.
But when talent went against good systems and processes, got shut down versus Curry, my man is hitting he hit like 130 3-pointers in a row at practice. Think about for you to hit 130 in a row, how many hundreds of thousands of shots did he miss to create that muscle memory?
Well, I mean, I would say like the fact that Teron Lue was able to shut you down.
That's crazy.
Tells me.
I got the perfect one though. You just reminded me of something, right? So it reminded me of the 2008 Olympic team, right? And in 2004, they had LeBron, they had Tim Duncan, they had Iverson, they had all these players, but they lost though.
So you're just gonna show up and win.
Exactly, because you, like you said, talent. If you don't work hard, or if you ain't got a process. So Coach K, I think that's when he got hired, and he brought in Kobe Bryant.
Kobe, yeah.
So I remember Carmelo Anthony, LeBron, they was going out to a nightclub in Vegas, and they came back in at 4 a.m, and Kobe, he walking through the lobby, about to hit the gym, and everybody looking at him like, man, what you doing, man? He said, I'm tired of y'all losing. And the next week, LeBron started with him, and then Chris Paul started joining. Next thing you know, D-Wade, Carmelo Anthony, then the whole team was getting up early like Kobe Bryant, and they got a process going, and that's how they was able to, bring home the gold. So I think the same thing with, like you said, extroverts. Yeah. At some point, you got to get a process for you to be able to win, long term.
And I've had people ask me, like, does your training work for everybody? It's like, it absolutely works for everybody. Introvert, extrovert, it works for everybody. But if you're naturally gifted and you have a consistent process, you're unstoppable.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's over.
I think the problem, too, with real estate, it makes so much money.
Yeah.
And so making big money hides inefficiencies.
Oh, for sure.
Preaching to myself for years because I was better than most people at calls, and at first I'll make more calls than everybody. I didn't smoke cigarettes, so I went on lunch break. I'm saying I want to take lunch breaks. I didn't care if I got hung up on, so I'll go early. I didn't take lunch breaks, and I'll stay later. So I just offer sure reps. I got more calls all the time and got more deals closed. But then I got into real estate, and then you close one 10 deal, 20 grand deal. I'll take 2 weeks off. Like, hey, I'll get back to the calls tomorrow, and that starts showing up. And I think that's a part of you got to kind of learn. And that's why I'm really excited to see these newer people because they haven't got a chance to develop that full habits. And if you don't have the good habits, it shows up in crunch time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's got to be that commitment to the process in regards to the money mindset,
Right.
right? Like, and it's hard. Like, new money, it's hard. You see it a lot. I've fallen victim to this, right? Like, you look at like MC Hammer. How can he make 35 million and blow it, right?
That's crazy.
Right? TLC.
300 million. He lost 300 million.
Yeah, and then you had like, what was it? Was it T-Pain? I saw like something, right? Like 40 million.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
gone, right? So like, you see like, how is this possible? And then we start making money. And then our expenses increase.
right.
I've been there.
10,000 a month. Like, no way. Now you have 50,000 a month. Like, how did this happen?
I've seen you at Masters.
I'm like, it's burning 50 grand a month at 21. I'm like, this is healthy.
Buying those cigars with Benjamins over here.
One thing ET says that really hits home, and I hope this sticks with a lot of people, that was I got around E and saw how he moved his whole camp, completely changed how I want to move my life. He says, for a lot of people, your talents will take you places, your character won't keep you. And that hit me like, dang, you can be the most talented, but you don't start having character about honoring your craft, showing up when nobody's looking, being put in those reps when no one's looking around and it's not going well. You're not going to get the results because your talents will take you places, but you won't stay. You'll fizzle out.
Yeah, it'll open the door, but once you get in the room, they're going to figure out whether you get to stay in the room. Yeah, definitely.
That process is a game changer. And then over the last few years, it's like the environment gave the results, not the other way around. Like, so I feel, and it's my opinion, and I'm sure some of you guys will agree, but it's the environment was so easy with the hedge funds and and the acquisitions and everybody just just the ability to close a deal was fairly easy versus today. So it boosted up a lot of egos as far as the sell side. Yeah. And now a lot of people are not around. They're not here anymore because they didn't trust the process.
Well, I can tell you, right? So I'm a service provider, right? For a sales trainer, right? We sell products. And we saw 2022, I want to say like 35-40% drop in customer base, right?
Wow.
40%.
And I think I was talking to Jesse, right? I think Bash saw a massive drop
hammered
in user base, right? And this is true across the board, whether you were selling a $97 a month product or you're selling 20,000, right? Like you're doing direct mail, right? Like everyone felt it. So like to your point, a lot of people are feeling pretty good about themselves, and a lot of other people are not feeling so great about themselves.
Yeah, because they thought they were special when really the environment was
special. Made us all look smart.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, and like I said, like when everybody's winning, everybody's hitting jump shots, nobody missing layups. Yeah, it's easy to feel good about yourself, but now it's tough. Now those reps happen. Now that muscle memory is going to come into it. And we saw this again. In 04, when I got started, I saw this happen in 08, and 09, 2010. I'm like, whoa, you had to really be skilled. And a lot of people went back to jobs. And this time around, I thought for sure a lot more people were going to learn from it. Yeah. But like you said, it's so easy. It's such big money. People making $300,000-$400,000 months. Now they ain't even hearing it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was guilty of it as well. Right? I was like, here's all the money we're making. It's like, okay, so we can raise our overhead. Right. And then like,
we did it. Yeah, me too.
Right.
And
then, like this forever.
Yeah, it's gonna be like this forever. Right. And like, we lie to ourselves. Like, I'm smart enough. I'll figure it out. Right. And thankfully we're still here. But man, like there were many months where that revenue fell below that.
That's facts though. I think that's for everybody. Everybody I spoke to
across the board
said the same thing. Everybody I've spoke to, said, oh man, early 2022, I mean, you can close your eyes and just sell it to anybody and they'll grab it. Yeah. But I think that when you had to be strategic, when you had to use you had to actually have technique when it come to closing, a lot of people didn't have that. And that's why a lot of people exited the industry.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when you just relying on hedge funds, you didn't realize, I thought instantly, without me even had to have any type of counsel, if the hedge funds was buying all these properties, who was losing at that time? It was the local cash buyers. So we started going back to the local guys who was very hungry, and that's who was ready to buy. Like even at this time, these guys hungry because they was getting slaughtered by the hedge fund companies.
They
got to switch up the strategy.
Yep. So I guess 5 weeks away.
Yep.
Yes.
Right. So coming. CloserOlympics.com. Does that work?
CloserOlympics.com, where they go to get the tickets. Yep.
Yeah. So go check it out, and you're gonna get to see day one is the open run.
Yep.
Right. So we got 9 or 12.
There's gonna be 9 people.
9 qualifiers.
Yep.
Right.
No, so we had 6 qualifiers. They're gonna be in part of day one, and they're gonna get whittled down to 3.
So 6 qualifiers on day one, whittled down to 3. That's a Friday.
Yep.
right?
28th.
And then Saturday is the long day, 12 contestants,
Yes.
right? And if you guys want to see harsh judging, right? That's the day.
Want to see Dream Shattered live?
Yeah, but listen.
With the 8.
But look,
8.
when I give you the 8, though, right, I tell you why.
Right.
You do.
You do.
Fair
Right?
Fair enough.
It's like, here's an 8, but here's why, and here's what I would have done differently, right? So if you guys want, I think coaching perspective, that's what I look at. So you get to see the closers
Yeah.
work it, right? And you get to hear feedback on how I would say is the ideal process. Not perfect, right?
Sure.
But ideal given the scenario. And then day 3 is Sunday,
Championship.
and you got 3 people fighting for the ring.
Yeah.
And day 4, Dispo
Yeah.
King.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what else should they know prior to the event? It's 5 weeks away.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll say this: if you're watching this after the event, I still highly recommend to get the package, the bundle.
Yeah.
It's a great source of training, and you'll have all 3 years of the competition. So I mean, it's like, what is it, 60,
It'd be like
70
60,
hours
70 hours.
of
Yeah.
training footage. So just in case somebody watches this after.
Yeah. I think in addition to that, not only do you get 60, 70 hours of footage, you get all 3 years replays. I think you also going to get a mini course that we put together just to add some of our techniques and values to them. You're going to get one of the Closer Olympics hats as well.
Yep.
And you have, if you get the bundle, you're going to have a chance to get your properties dispoed on Dispo Day. And I just think the big piece of this, and then Brent said it really hit home, and we're all looking at you like, dang,
Yeah.
you are shortcutting 40, 50 years of your learning curve just by watching all these closers, but all these years into our craft, all on display for you to learn, so you don't have to take all those steps and bumps and bruises. I think that's a big piece that they're going to get just by watching not only the Close Olympics live, but come and watching the replays year after year.
Yeah, and I think the last thing is what Steve said, that I just had, just sit here and think about. Not only do you got the top closers, but you got the judges who also got expertise who's going to be giving that feedback. So that way that the people that's watching, they can understand why the scores is given why they was gave. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
and Chris,
that's important.
Chris has a ton of experience. He's done, I think, everything in real estate.
Everything.
Right?
Yeah.
Everything.
Like Chris Jefferson, he's done everything in real estate.
Chris.
You?
Christina, she's
Boss.
got a ton of experience, and I think she's in multiple markets, and she actually works with multiple teams
Right.
on operations as well.
Operations, right.
Right?
Yep.
So she's operationally gifted as well. You get Brent Daniels. Like, I don't know that many people who've door knocked 15,000 doors.
Nah.
Right? Like,
Wow.
the guy knows. The guy knows the business. And then who are the other judges in finals?
We have Steven Morales.
Steven Morales,
Steven Morales,
another great closer.
clean cut assassin. We have Donnie Ruffin, who's going to be a judge this year. We have Mitt.
Y'all admit.
Mitt.
Smith,
He's going to be he's a judge this year. And we have Daniel G.
Daniel G, Jerry Norton in the finals.
Jerry Norton's going to be in the finals as well.
And I think
all
that's
Jerry
good.
Norton's another grizzled vet, and Steven Morales. I mean, this is the first guy that I'm aware of who was closing on stage. Right?
Right. Yeah.
As far as I
Yeah.
recall,
Yeah, no, the first one I seen.
Yep.
he was
yep.
the first guy
Yep.
closing on stage. Give me your leads. I'll call him right now.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of people can teach it. He was the first one, like,
Yeah.
I'll show you right now.
on it.
The first event I went to, he was doing it. Yeah.
Right?
He's in
Yeah.
DC. Yeah.
Yeah, he's closing on stage, and then, like, what I was a little intimidated, right? When I saw Steven, I was like, all right, here's what I'm doing, right? So I was like, all right, let me put you on hold real quick. All right. And as he's pulling out comms, he's talking to the camera, like, the guy's got it all going on. Like, on year one, he was so comfortable
Mm-hmm.
doing what he was doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
closing was like a muscle memory.
Yeah.
It
Right.
wasn't even like, what should I say? How to overcome this? It was just,
Second nature to him.
right? They said this, and you already had an answer. He didn't even have to think about it.
Because he had a process. He didn't want. I ain't gonna
That
lie.
7-minute process.
he was the
saying
first-
under 7 minutes. Well, yep.
I was always raw talented with closing, but Steven was the first guy I sat back and said, I got to get a process that I'm doing every single
Every
time.
time.
Because every call I was I was saying things out of order. I was saying things in a different way.
Sequence.
No call was the same. When I seen Steven, every call, the same process.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, even if he got off the script, he always found his way back onto
Yeah.
it, and he went.
Yeah, house up the street just sold for like $9,000. I think like every house is like, yeah, well, but houses up the street just sold for $9,000.
Give it an address. Give it an address.
Yeah, no, so yeah, the clean cut assassin, that guy, it was really awesome to watch, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing his judging as well.
Oh yeah.
So are there anything else? There's one more qualifier.
There's one more qualifier.
So
in
how does
July,
someone watch the qualifier? Because there's one going on right now.
Yeah, right now.
How do they watch the next qualifier?
So you could go to Closer Olympics on YouTube. Where we're streamlining live for free. You could go to the closerolympics.com page and click on the qualifier button, and we'll take you there as well. And so we just want to make sure we just add value. We want everybody to have the Costco sample. You know, you taste it, I'll buy that. You know what I'm saying? So, and we want you to have value too. We want you guys to have value because if you take these techniques and you go and apply them, and you see it works, you're gonna want 3 days of this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? How often are you able to see top closers that you're not paying mentorship for, be able to see their techniques, see their strategies, and read their body language? I think that's a big part that they take for they underestimate. You read these body language, when somebody gets hit, you see their eyebrows change. I was just watching earlier today. You see when that clock is playing into their mind, you're going to see how you operate, and now you can mirror match differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh.
So watch the qualifiers. That's the free sample.
Yep, free sample.
Right, that's the Costco sample.
Yep, get your Costco on.
And then make sure you guys tune in 28, 29, 30?
28, 29, 30, and now 31st.
Now 31st. So that's going to be awesome. Anything else we want to make sure everyone knows about for the event?
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, again, I can't emphasize the training that is a part of this event. So if you're looking to better your skills, or if you have acquisition managers or sales guys or you aspire to have sales guys, this is the best training that can supplement whatever process you currently have.
Yeah, I would say that, man. You know, right now, if you get your ticket less than $100, you can gain over 30 years of experience. There's no other way you're able to do that without spending thousands of dollars. So I would definitely say tune in, and shout out to all the virtual assistants from across the world. We want every call center, virtual assistant center to be tuned in to this because we appreciate what you guys do too. So
yeah, spend the 97, go get a deal, then buy Steve's training.
Right, exactly.
And then you're unstoppable.
And my thoughts are like, listen, we're kind of making history all together. It's never been done before. This is the Super Bowl of real estate events. There's nothing like this. I wish when I first started, I had something like this to see, to be able to absorb and connect with and learn from without having to fly out to places. Do yourself a favor, increase your skill sets, invest in yourself. This is have evergreen value. And what did he say? The return on value is almost off the charts. So invest in yourself. It's going to be great. And I look forward to seeing everybody there.
Yeah, and I'll say the other thing too, you know, what you get to see, we talk about, you know, diversity and this and that. You get to see what everyone else thinks as well, right? Because you got to see the chat. And I was kind of mean to the chat too, right? Like they were complaining about the leads. Right, and I was like Alec Baldwin, right? Like the leads aren't weak.
It's the lead. Exactly. You're weak. Coffee's for closers.
It's not the leads, right? So I think you get to see two things: A, what your competition's mindset's like,
Right.
You get to see their perspective, but also if you find someone you resonate with, even in the chat, right? Like, just build this community. Like you're gonna have we had 1,300 in the first year.
Yep.
How many in the second year?
15.
Yep.
1,500, right? Like you're gonna have over 1,000 people. There's no way you're not going to find someone that's committed to getting better at sales.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. So you're going to be able to network within the group for $97. That's like a no-brainer, right? Because I know for me, some of the best ways I won was not actually learning from stage, right?
Yeah. I've
been in a coaching, forever, but learning from stage was cool. We got tactics, right? But learning, I mean, there's no drinking here, right? But for me, back in the day, was in the bars.
Yeah.
Right? Like, hey, Elijah, like, what do you do about this? Hey, Alex, like, hey, this is what I'm problem running with my team. Like, can't get past this. He's like, oh, just do this. Right?
Right.
That was the value, yeah.
Right. So that's the value of the community. So I think, for $97, not only do you get to watch closers for 3 days and Dispo for another day, you get to listen to judging from all these different judging profiles.
Right.
And you also get to connect with the community. Like, that's such a stupid value.
Man. You heard Steve said the best. You're laying it down. It's no brainer.
Yeah. So cool. So closesolympics.com.
Closesolympics.com, July 28th, 29th, 30th, and 31st. Like I said, get your bundle package. Things like $300. $300. I mean, the return on value is unbelievable. Price of dinner with Alex.
That's just appetizer.
That's those drinks. Those are
weekday. No, thanks for having us, Steve.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Can do it.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for flying in.
See you on the courts.
See you on the courts. See you guys later.
Shout out to Steve Trang. Jump on the Steve Trang. We real estate disruptors.